Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oops, it was loud, wasn't it? You know, Shabbat is a time we often take stock of what happened in the last week. Some synagogues, you know, I think we remember like what happened on Sunday, Yom Rishon. What happened on Monday, Sheni, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, we try to recall back, and sometimes Shabbat's a time in which we think, you know, I wonder, where was I last month this time? Does anyone remember, by the way, where you were literally last year on March 25th? Does anyone by chance remember? Do you? Lee says on Zoom. Behind your mask, Lee says on Zoom, right. That's good. Okay, any other memory? Anybody else have a memory where you were a year ago? If it were a normal year, I would have no idea either, but it does turn out that precisely 12 months to the day last year, I had my heart surgery. And so March 25th, 2021, to have traveled this journey of the past year, and now to be able to celebrate a new mitral valve is time certainly to feel grateful beyond measure. And as I said a couple nights ago, there's so much gratitude not only for March 25th and my time in the CTU and all the doctors, but so much gratitude to you all, to Temple Beth-El. So many meals you prepared, you provided, so much care, so much. I don't know if I earned any of that goodness and love and kindness, but I feel eternally grateful. And I think that's what Shabbat is about, gratitude. So, William, why don't you recruit your parents, your brother, come on up. We're going to light Shabbat candles, because the lights that we light for Shabbat is very much about gratitude. And give you a prayer book, the blessing. First we'll light the candle so you guys can do the work of lighting the candle, and then I'll give you a prayer book and you can offer the blessing. Nicely done, Wendy. You're getting us there. Excellent. You're an expert at this. Okay. Yeah. Both. Yeah, both. I didn't warn you. Yes, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chad l'kner.
Amen.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who follows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you a ton. That's the mission of becoming a bar mitzvah, bringing as much light into the world as we can. And I know you're already doing that in beautiful ways, and you're going to continue.
And Rabbi, having heard his Devar Torah, which you helped him with, I asked William last night to read the top of page 3.
Oh, good.
Which I think you'll see ties in very nicely
Good,
with the
thank
themes
you.
you prompted him
Cantor, go for it.
As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Amen. Beautiful.
Amen.
Thank you, William and Cantor, for having that idea to offer that reading, which is definitely it's a little hint into tomorrow. Okay, you guys can sit.
We begin our journey into the Psalms with the first 4 lines of Psalm 95 on page 12, and then we'll quickly transition to page 13.
Beto
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני וכולם מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, כי כל אלוהי האמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ, ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים, יעלו שרה וכו אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עצי יער, לפני ארוני קיבה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט הבל בצדק, ויאמין באמונתו. Page 14. אדוני מלך תגל הארץ, ישמחו יהיו רבים. אוהבי אדוני שנורא, שומר נפשות חסידיו, מיד רשעים יצילם. עוז הרוח לצדיק, ולישרי לב שמחה. עוז הרוח לצדיק, ולישרי לב שמחה. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, באדוני, והודו לזכר קודשו, לזכר קודשו. עוז הרוח לצדיק, ולישרי לב שמחה. עוז הרוח לצדיק, ולישרי לב שמחה.
Page 16, top of the page.
זמרו לאדוני בכינו, בכינו, וכוזים לה. זמרו לאדוני בכינו, בכינו, וקודם לה. זמרו בקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושביה, נחרות עמך וכף, יחד הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, וימים במישרים.
Page 18, Psalm 29.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בלילים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בחדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים, אל התבות נרים, אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל, לבנון בסריון, כמו בין רמים, כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יחלל איילות, ויחסוב יראות, ובהיכולו כולו, כולו אומר כבוד, אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו לשלום. For many months we've been using a melody, Mizmor LeDavid, and people come up to me and say, I love that we're using a Sephardic melody, and the truth is that's not a Sephardic melody, it's an Ashkenaz melody. And that, what we just heard, was a Sephardic melody. You can hear it, sounds like Holland. And we'll continue with a Sephardic melody for Lecha Dodi on page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, bnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Verse 1, Shahamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishemiyanu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'letila. Lecha, lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מהראש מקדם עשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כאור עלי עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגורה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Turn to page 22 from Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat. Before we offer, I just want to share this. I don't know, the cantor, the joy you brought just made me think, every week, we've said this many, many times, but every week maybe feels a little new because we're new and older but new. Every week we're invited into this realm, this idea, this inner place. Like I get to celebrate my sacred relationships every week. It's a beautiful. That's what Lecha Dodi is about. Where else do you go in our lives where it's nudging us, inviting us, pushing us to open ourselves to that? Okay, page 22.
Psalm for Shabbat. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולת בו.
Page 24, Shalom Aleichem.
שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ויהי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ויהי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ויהי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ויהי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Please rise. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Are you listening to my prayer? Barechu et Adonai, המבורך, ברוך אדוני, המבורך, לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. יאללה לילה יאללה לילה Let's read together on page 30.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, who skillfully opens the gates and thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzebaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv, Aravi.
Page 32.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימד. בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת, כי הם חיינו ביארך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו
Please be seated. 36.
Next page. Sorry.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן.
Page 40. Micha Malka.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? יעקב, וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Join with us. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing.
For you,
God, watch over us and deliver us.
For you, God,
gracious and merciful. God, our going and coming to life and peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, Aborei Sukkah Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al
Shamru, page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Very nice. All right, let's rise for our standing prayer, Amidah, on page 46.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופיה מתהילתך, that my mouth may declare your praise. 48. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VeHaNorah El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. Page 50. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים. ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מחמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל אתה אדוני בחיי הכל. Page 52. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושום בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Take a few moments for own private personal prayer. The prayers on the page, or the meditations of your heart, will come together in a few moments on page 62 for Oseh Shalom.
Feel free to continue davening at your own pace, sharing the words on the page or the words of your heart. Or you can join me at the bottom of page 62 for a prayer for peace. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'immeru amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Oh, ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen.
With this beautiful prayer of peace on our lips, we'll offer a prayer of healing, Amisha Berach, for those in our lives, a prayer of healing of mind, body, and spirit. And so if you're thinking of someone and want to share their name, as I walk down, please feel free to do so. Page 253.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
My papa, my mom's dad, he loved words. He was a chemist, but he loved words. He was born in about 1900, and he arrived in the U.S. at about the age of 15. And when he did, he devoured anything written in English. And my papa's love of language was also a love of Torah. Mavet v'chaim biyad lashon. Mavet v'chaim, death, and chaim, life. Biyad lashon, in the power of the lashon, the tongue. Says Proverbs 18. My papa came from a town called Nemirov. Some of you have already heard this week. Nemirov is about halfway in between Kyiv, the center of Ukraine roughly, and Odessa in the south on the Black Sea. I think Odessa is actually where Gary Slobin's family is from, our wonderful temple president. Lviv in the west, Kyiv in the center, and Odessa in the south form sort of a triangle. And Nemirov, which is in the region called Venetia, is roughly in the center of that triangle. Papa, as I said, my mom's dad, he wrote a family biography, and I've learned that my roots on my mom's side are from the Ukraine. And Papa's book opens like this, one sentence. It was a late sundown in our shtetl, the Ukrainian town of Nemirov. The Sabbath had just ended. My mom loved editing my papa's book before he died in 1987 and long after. Just a few weeks ago, my mom and I spent time reading Papa's book together. Her love of and her devotion to words, as I've said this past week, goes way back. Mom didn't get a Jewish education as a girl. This was very upsetting to her, actually. And even though she wasn't familiar with Jewish texts, she surely had a profound intuition about Jewish wisdom. Use your words, she regularly said to my brother and sister and to me. Don't hit, use your words. Mom said over and over to us, and I presume to her hundreds, maybe thousands of students. Don't walk away, use your words. Don't cry, use your words. Mavet v'chaim, biyad lashon, life and death, are in the power of the word, of the tongue. Vayomer Elohim, God said, Yehi or, let there be light. And Vayehi or, there was light. This is chapter 1, verse 3 of the Bible, of Genesis. The instrument of creation, as we've said many times, at our very beginning was the spoken word. Kind of a radical, profound proposition that the Bible's making. And go backwards from verse 3 to verse 1, 2 verses, to the Torah's very first sentence. In the beginning, God created what? No, don't say it. What were you going to say? Even though I told you not. Don't say the heavens and the earth, because that's mistaken. Say our brilliant Jewish readers of the Bible's first sentence. In the beginning, God created Et, two Hebrew letters, Aleph to Taf, A to Z. Only Aleph to Taf, A to Z. That's what God created before getting to the heavens and the earth. Because why? Language is the creative force of the universe, says the world's most important piece of literature. I think this relates very much to the life and death battle President Volodymyr Zelensky is having with Vladimir Putin. What is President Zelensky's greatest fear? It might be that his greatest fear is not that the United States or Europe denies the no-fly zone, or that the West will withhold one weapon or another, or not even that there is a constant need for supplies for basic necessities. Rather, it may well be that President Zelensky's greatest fear is that the world will hand over our most important weapon that we human beings possess. His fear is that we might stop speaking, that we'll tire in our demand for peace, wane in our condemnation of Putin's murderous aggression, and become numb to Putin's violence and criminality. President Zelensky's greatest fear just might be that we will become silent, mute, mum. That our exhaustion will lead to indifference, paralysis, or simply a sense of powerlessness. That we will never allow the heinous murders of Vladimir Putin to silence our voices and still our efforts. Mavet v'chaim, biyad lashon. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. For Ukrainians, I think, their life depends on our tongues, our speech and passionate efforts to continue expressing our outrage, our determination, our love of their humanity. God forbid that we in the world stop speaking. God forbid that we lose our focus, that we let our passion wane. Mavet v'chaim biyad lashon. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Just yesterday, actually, President Zelensky called for a global protest, urging people everywhere to take to the streets and denounce Russian aggression. I quote, From this day and after that, show your standing. Come from your offices, your homes, your schools and universities. Come in the name of peace. Come with Ukrainian symbols to support Ukraine, to support freedom, to support life. He said some of this in English, apparently. Come to your schoolyards, your streets. Say that people matter. Freedom matters. Peace matters. Say that Ukraine matters. Might we fulfill President Zelensky's request? Might we come with Ukrainian symbols? Is it subtle enough? Wouldn't it be amazing if we came in great numbers with Ukrainian symbols all over America? All over New York, maybe all over Long Island, or no, wait. How about we start with the Jews of Great Neck? And maybe it's not just the Jews. Maybe we Jews can inspire our neighbors, like the Chinese, the Russians who are local, the Hispanics who are here of Great Neck. President Zelensky is reminding us that our speech matters. Our speech can create a universe. In the beginning, God said, not the heavens and the earth. If you open up the Torah, read the Hebrew, I'm being literal. Our commentators being literal. God created et, A to Z, Aleph to Taf. Our speaking can change a life and create a world. As I said, I suspect that what President Zelensky fears the most is our silence. David's checking the Torah. Excellent, Dr. Sutton. I love that. The West, Europe, U.S., Japan did not come together because of some God-given love of Ukrainians a month ago. Why did we come together? We all wanted to come together because the Ukrainians came together. The unity of the Ukrainians is what inspired so many others to join their cause. Their courage made us all proud. Their unity in this moment of disaster, of tragedy, inspired an urgent demand within us. Their courage and unity are inseparable. There's no unity without their courage, and there's no courage without their unity. Let's be clear what President Zelensky is not saying. He's not speaking, when he made this speech just yesterday, to the 550, 500, or 5,000 most powerful people in our country or the world. He's not telling them to act. He's not saying that the Ukrainian survival is about all of the most powerful people in the world. He's saying that this is a time for all of us to be united, to come together. Separate from his hopes of what the power people will do, Zelensky is reminding us that every one of us has a critical job. Our mission is unity. Our purpose is the dignity of human life. The most powerful weapon you have, each of you, each of us, is our power to speak, just like God. I pray that you didn't miss this message 10 days ago, last Wednesday and Thursday on Purim. Let's remember, Mordechai is not the hero of that story. What was his advice to Esther? Litzavot aleha, Mordechai charged Esther, lavo el hamelech, to go to the king, to go to Achashverosh, to go to the king. And then, ulevakesh milfanav, to appeal, to plead to the king, to Achashverosh. So let's please understand this. It's so relevant. Mordechai's view of power and change was that salvation would begin and end at the very top, with the man, from the man in charge. Having access to power is what matters. That was Mordechai's understanding of the world. Mordechai did not believe, apparently, according to the book of Esther, the scroll of Esther, that the average person or people had a necessary and critical role in the salvation of the Jewish people at that moment. Think of how relevant this is to the first days of this heinous war by Russia. Lots of leaders went to speak to Putin. They met with him, and I'm not criticizing them. I was glad they went. But what did it produce? Made no difference. Things have gotten way worse since all the people at the top of the power structure have spoken to each other. Mordecai's approach has not worked with Vladimir Putin. What has made a difference is the unity and the courage of the Ukrainian people. And as a result, they've inspired a great unity in the world. So my message tonight is to embrace Esther's insights. Be clear, it's Esther who has the deeper understanding of defeating the great forces of evil. Don't be lured into Mordecai's view of power. These are Esther's words. Lech kenoset kol ha-Yehudim. What does the word kol mean? All. Every one of the Yehudim. Every single one of them. That wasn't what Mordecai said. She tells her servants to gather every single person, every single Yehudi, not just the power people. The salvation of the Jewish people then, and I think the salvation of the Ukrainian people now, calls on every one of us. Esther did not expect every Pitzela Jew to do something heroic. Let me do something that matters. I want to do something heroic. But she did teach that each of us needs to show up. Each of us needs to come together, every one of us. Our salvation depends on all of us. Money and power are not always enough. Sometimes our money and power can only make a difference after we've come together. I'm describing the Purim story. After we've joined together, after we've united our hearts and minds and our voices, then our access to power, think Esther, only after all of the Jews came together, then she had the power to influence Achashverosh. No Messiah or power broker can do the job alone when the job requires all of us. This is Esther's message. And remember Haman's claim against us? Vayomer Haman lamelech, Haman said to the king, there was a certain people, those Jews, who are mifuzar umiforad. This people is scattered and dispersed. That's Haman's claim. What kind of claim was that? What did he mean? What was his point? That we're assimilated? That we could be defeated, destroyed, because we weren't all in the same physical place? I mean, there is a little logic to that. Since we're dispersed all over the place, maybe, quite possibly, we're less of a threat. They're scattered and dispersed, but it's a bit odd, isn't it? Haman's critique of us, understood that way, okay, it doesn't really give much, but consider if Haman's point was really why we as Jews were vulnerable. Haman wasn't saying why we were guilty or undeserving of goodness or deserving of some evil, but why we were vulnerable. He was only explaining why we can be defeated or destroyed, because we were mifuzar umiforad, scattered and dispersed. Maybe you don't get the point quite yet. Let me make it totally clear. The whole story of Esther, the holiday of Purim a week and a half ago, is about precisely this idea, that we are vulnerable primarily because we distance ourselves from each other. We separate ourselves from each other. We judge, condemn, we demean, diminish, denigrate each other, scattered and dispersed. Mifuzar miforad. That was Haman's point. Haman knew that our internal divisions were and are our greatest threat. And thank God, not only Haman knew it, but Esther knew it as well. That's exactly why she did not take Mordecai's advice to simply go to the king. That's why she first charged all of us to gather, Kol HaYudim, to gather together. We had to overcome Haman's claim that we were scattered and dispersed. The path to salvation is the place called unity. This amazing, but surely not obvious insight of the book of Esther. President Zelensky said it yesterday to the average people of the world, to me, to you, to all of us. Make yourself visible and heard. Come with Ukrainian symbols to support Ukraine. Say that people matter, freedom matters, peace matters. Say that Ukraine matters. So, no matter our walk in life, every single one of us has a starring role to play. This Shabbat we read the laws of Kashrut. No one is excluded from these laws that govern the smallest choices that we make. Those small details, tiny details, they matter. Peoplehood depends on the simplest acts of a human life. What we eat, how we prepare our food, every effort we make to link ourselves to each other is a powerful weapon in our war against Vladimir Putin. The New York Philharmonic at Lincoln Center, the Royal British Philharmonic at Royal Albert Hall in London played the Ukrainian national anthem. I don't know. I think Kashrut is just one note in the symphony of Jewish life. Don't think that any note, that any act we choose is irrelevant or trivial. Tiny little acts, small words, small expressions of the heart can shake the earth. That's the Torah of tonight. I know my mom believed that. With my nephew and niece, Jeremy and Emma, and all her students, she would spend time just reciting words. She particularly liked big 4-syllable words, or she knew actually that her little kids, 5-year-olds, loved big 4-syllable words, and she would teach them how to recite them. Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum. She would do it over and over again, and they would love that. Or forsythia. Forsythia. The kids would love these the rhythm, the music of just 4 syllables. Or the story, my mom, Nana, sat on the sidewalk with my little niece, Leah, for 30 minutes, and Leah's mom, Liz, my sister-in-law, was concerned. She came outside of their house and outside of Philadelphia, and she said to them, "Are you guys okay? They've been sitting for 30 minutes. And my mom and Leah said, "Yes, we're just studying the ants on the sidewalk." Noticing the smallest creatures can make a very big difference. Honoring ants can remind us to honor human beings thousands of miles away. So my Torah tonight is a request. It's a request, maybe a little manipulative on my part, or it's not self-serving actually. It's a request that you join me and us in a small effort that I'm going to initiate in the coming days. I've ordered about 200 Ukrainian flags. And I think next Sunday, this Sunday I get up from Shiva, but next Sunday, I think it's going to be on Sunday, you'll hear more, I'm going to literally just walk the streets of Great Neck and knock on people's doors and say, "I'd love for you to join me. I have a flag. Can I give you a Ukrainian flag? Will you find some way, any way that you'd like, to put this Ukrainian flag up in your home in some way that it can be seen?" I kind of had this ridiculous idea. Remember Rocky, who started his run through the streets of Philly all by himself? And by the end, he stood atop the steps of the Philadelphia Art Museum with a throng of folks beside him. Who were those people? They were people who believed that the little guy, the little person, the little country can prevail. That goodness, decency, and the unity of human beings can overcome sheer power, raw, brutal force. The plan for next Sunday is just to offer a flag, a Ukrainian flag, to our fellow Great Neck residents. There'll be some Facebook and other social media posts about the effort during the week and recording our experience. I'm going to send out a robocall to congregants inviting them to join. We'll get people taking videos. We'll post them on social networks. Our goal is simply to speak, to express our profound, heartfelt support for the people of Ukraine, to let them know that we are not going to forget, we're not going to tire or wear out. The point, though, is that we should all show up, knos kol hayudim, gather, organize, every single person, every Jew. We can help destroy Haman. We can help move mountains, turn back tides of destruction, just by coming together. I'm remembering you, dear Mom. Don't cry, use your words. Don't walk away, use your words. Every flag is an entire sermon. For each of us, that sermon is unique, a little different one from the other. But for each of us, that flag holds so many words. So thank you, Devorah. Thank you, my beloved Ima, my mom of words. Your light is shining bright. Your life's work is influencing me and others right now, this very Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. I ask us all to rise for Aleinu on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. As always, remember loved ones laid to rest. And this Shabbat, I remember my beloved mom, Dorothy Dottie Feldman, Devorah Bat Vasya V'chaim. We also remember laid to rest in the last 30 days, Nipir Shloshim, Barbara Gershenson and Marty Hausman. If you want to rise, as I've remembered a loved one, mention their name, please feel free to do so. And remember those whose yortzeit falls during this week or in this Shabbat. John J. Baruch and Joseph Kaplan, Rose Golub and Rose B. Gustav, Siegfried Hackel and Henry Muller, Elias Rosenzweig and Leo Shear, Rose Stone and Helen Wertheimer. If you're here remembering someone whose name is not on the list, we remember beloved Harry Walken. Yes, Liz, right? Anyone else? Okay, if it's your custom to rise with the mourners, please do so. We're on page 294. Ikadal, Ikadash Shemerabah, Bialma Divrach Rute, Biamnich Mach Rute, B'chayechon, Uvyomechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה. דאמירן ביומה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen.
Amen.
May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. And let us say one last time,
Amen.
Amen. You can be seated. All right, announcements. The most important announcement for sure is to celebrate, William, your bar mitzvah. Wonderful start this evening. It's going to be a beautiful morning in our Shabbat morning service where you help to lead us in the service, offer your wisdom, your Torah wisdom, and we get to celebrate with you and your family this wonderful simcha. Sunday, 9 a.m., Brotherhood monthly meeting, in person. Yes, wow, great. Sandy, anything else with that, or anyone? Bagels? Awesome. Great. Bagels, 9 a.m.
If you like bagels.
Lox? Lox too. All right.
Oh.
Some will come for the
The
lox.
whole schmear, he says. Oh,
Cream cheese. Wednesday, March 30th is the Advocate for Social Justice. I think a program that will be very worthwhile. Thursday, a solidarity concert for Ukraine featuring the Manhattan Symphony, and this is at Stephen Wise Synagogue in the city. Next Sunday.
I'll be performing in that.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
It says that. That's right. That's the
Thought I'd
reason
mention
it's
that.
here, actually. Cancer Adam will be there. That's exactly
It's
right.
actually going to be an amazing event. The Manhattan Symphony is donating their time, and all the proceeds are going to the World Union for Progressive Judaism, their emergency fund to help resettle refugees, and specifically Jewish refugees, all over the Eastern European borders. So it's going to be an amazing concert with an ensemble of 40 cantors.
Wow, 40 cantors.
40
Awesome.
cantors. And what's really cool, Cantor Singer, who's a great name for a cantor,
yeah.
Cantor dance singer at
Oh.
Stephen Wise. He's actually the cousin of the conductor of the Manhattan Symphony.
Wow.
Their grandfather was the cantor in, I'm going to butcher the name, Przemysl, which is the town in Poland that is receiving all of these Ukrainian immigrants. So it's incredible.
Wow.
It's going to be a great effort. So there should be information coming out about that this week. Hopefully there'll be a Zoom link as well.
Beautiful, awesome. So that's Sunday at
It's gonna
6 p.m.
It's Thursday.
Thursday at 6 p.m.
6
All
p.m.
right.
So if you're in the city, come to the Upper West Side, and if you're not, look for your link in the emails.
That's, wow. All right. Great. It's a great opportunity for us to come and fell over our Cantor Davis and feel very,
More
feel
so,
the unity of
more so to echo the words that the rabbi just spoke.
yeah. All right. Lots of other ongoing programs. Next Sunday, Lev Shalem Yoga Holiday Series is with Sharon Epstein and one Rabbi Tara, and all the rest I think are you have. Thanks to Oneg Bakers, Linda Diamond, Roberta Lulav. The Oneg is in the atrium. Let's not miss it. Thank you to the Margloff for challah, and thank you to Jason and Shai and Cantor Adam for a beautiful service. All right.
I've got one more plug. Since we're looking ahead to Pesach,
Yeah.
some of you want to look past Pesach, which is fine,
Understandable.
because my announcement is about something that takes place just after Pesach. As we've been celebrating our Sephardic Torah this past year, one of the things we've been doing is celebrating its Moroccan heritage, and there's a wonderful custom amongst the Moroccan Jews called Maimuna.
Yeah.
And Maimuna is the time when they take back all their chametz from their neighbors and eat it.
Exactly.
So we're going to have
Are we
a wonderful...
having a Maimuna?
We're having a Maimuna, and it's going to feature a Moroccan jazz ensemble with Moroccan music and some sweets that are of Moroccan flavors. I think some of our bakers might help us out with that, even if we're able to tempt them into doing so. It's going to be Sunday, April 24th. It's going to be very exciting. So here at TBE.
Fantastic. Okay. We Kiddush and Motzi.
Kiddush and Motzi.
Come on up, William. Come on. Come on, William.
You can come, Morgan. Come on.
All right, we're going to pour. We can all rise
while you're pouring.
while I'm pouring.
ויכולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכול אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו. אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות.
There, William, you want to pick it up?
We're on page 5. Savary.
I am.
Go ahead, William. Do you need the book?
You got it. You know it. You're a
You might need a
little nervous.
microphone. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
B'rei Pri Hagafer.
Amen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava v'ratzon, inchilanu, keep holding it up high, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Oh, do you have to? I don't know.
L'chaim.
Someone has to. It won't kill you. It won't kill you. Your mom, your dad, brother, you can all take a drink. You'll love it.
Okay.
Okay, now
Motzi.
pick up a challah or two. Pick up the two. You'll survive. You'll survive.
Together.
Both of them.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Take a bite. Take a piece.
All right. We'll have the rest of that at the Oneg.
Exactly.
Thank you, Forests. We'll conclude on
Close.
page 321 with Adon Olam to the melody of Shechet Nye V'merla Ukraini. Let me see. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra V'yenasa B'chefzo Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu
Shabbat shalom all. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.